Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another BRAP. It's Wednesday. It's the middle of the week, and yeah, lot to talk about, to say the least. A lot to talk about. A lot. But I want to give a big shout out to everyone in the live chat. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Appreciate it. Do me a favor. Please hit the like button if you haven't done so already. And I am going to drop a. Oh, thank you, Matt. You know, Matty Beast, I appreciate that, sir. I appreciate that, Matty Beast, because let me tell you something. Look, I mean, I get called a lot of things. Pony. I even had somebody who I thought was somewhat rational try to compare me to Lulu, the CCO of Activision, and try to compare what I was saying to completely conflating what I was saying as it relates to as I was trying to explain to the really, I would say, the more extreme elements of the Xbox community, trying to explain to them, look, not all developers, so QA testers aren't developers. Developers don't necessarily want unions or want unionization. Had they wanted it, it's easy to kind of connect the dots and provide proof of that. They would have voted for it because there's nothing stopping them from doing so. And I'm not the CEO of a major publisher trying to union bust and caught doing so, regurgitating, right-wing talking points and things like that. But anyhow, no, I appreciate that, Matty Beast. But do me a quick favor, please I dropped the link in the live chat. Please retweet the link or drop the link in your on your favorite social media platform. Let everyone know that we're live. But no, thank you again for joining us, everyone. I really appreciate it. And to those who are going to listen to the show later on, to catch the replay, thank you as well. And please leave commentary in the comment section below. But well, we had B Money. I don't know. I think B Money just dropped. Hopefully he comes back. So we'll see. Game Logic. Oh, there he is. Hey, B, what's going on, man?
What's happening, man?
Oh, B, I tell you, man. I feel a little spicy today, sir.
Hey, why's that?
We'll talk about it a little bit. Man. You know, I'll say this, B. I cannot wait for this deal to be over with, man.
Oh, man, I've been saying that for a year now.
Yeah, because you know what?
It's way past due, man.
It is. And I think what's kind of getting lost in the shuffle a little bit, the conversation in terms of gaming, I mean, we talked about this more recently on BRAP. I mean, 2023 has been amazing for games. Amazing.
Yeah, it's been pretty good so far.
Yeah, like, I mean, so what have you been playing more recently, B?
Well, I actually just played the MLB The Show a technical test over the weekend. Which I'm pretty excited about that because they're actually highlighting the Negro League players this year. So that's a day one cop for me. I purchased Hogwarts Legacy. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. It's downloaded, ready to go. So I'll be checking out that. I played the Octopath Traveler 2 demo.
Oh, how's that?
Really, really good, man. I was a fan of the first game, played on the Switch, and I'm hoping that they release the first game on PlayStation, with the second game kind of coming, and it wasn't there before. So hopefully that happens, but I'm definitely copping Octopath Traveler 2. I don't know if I'm going to get it on the Switch or PlayStation this time around, but I'm definitely going to cop that.
Yeah, no, B, it's funny, man. Like, I was looking at the reviews for Octopath Traveler 2. It's reviewed much better than the first one, and I've heard great things about the first one. But if you look at like this year, we talk about this deal. We're going to talk about the Activision or Microsoft's presentation to the EU, and they're signing the 10-year contract that they officially signed with Nintendo and Nvidia. We'll talk about that because it's news related. But you're right, like that is kind of drowning out, a lot of the. And I'm just referring to Twitter. Again, Twitter's a very small sample size of the gaming community. But at least on that platform, I think a lot of the conversations around this deal and not enough, and the gaming piece is getting a little bit lost in the shuffle, at least from what I see on my timeline. Maybe your timeline's a little bit different, B, but But there's a lot of great games. I mean, Octopath Traveler 2, Microsoft dropping Hi-Fi Rush, which big shout out to EJ. Eric Jackson just finished that game. He said it was one of his favorite games of the year, and I'm watching some of the boss battles. I'm like, oh man, I did start playing it. It just didn't vibe with me. I may just need to go back and stick my teeth into it again. But he loved that game. Look, artistically speaking, the aesthetic very appealing in that game. The dialogue's great. It's got some charm to it. It's the kind of game that I'd like to see from a creative perspective. I'd like to see Microsoft do more on the Xbox, but yeah, there's that. I mean, there's the Dead Space remake, which just came out. I don't know if you've played that, B. I'm playing that right now. What a great remake. I'm happy to see that it's charted number, I think, 4 on NPD. There's Forspoken. Atomic Heart just released this week. You mentioned Hogwarts Legacy. Hogwarts Legacy seems to be doing very, very well in terms of retail sales, but there's just been a lot, man, compared to this year compared to last year. And then Sony releasing PlayStation VR 2 today. I saw a lot of people get there. You know what's awesome, B? When you see the excitement, you put all the and look, I know that, look, there's console wars on both sides of the house. I think we both agree with that, B, right? But it's nice when you see people, and I feel like this is why I said I'm going to get spicy today, B. So I'm just letting you know, man. I'm warning you, B. I'm going to get a little spicy today. It seems to me there's in terms of gaming and talking about games and kind of just showing what they're doing gaming related. I feel like it that kind of skews more towards one community over the other. And today I saw that with a lot of the PSVR 2, screenshots and the unboxing videos and just the excitement, man. The excitement around a new gaming device that people are going to go and just enjoy for hours upon hours and play games. And that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. It's about playing games. Yeah, it's about playing video games, man.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny because, the narrative around it is, nobody wants it. It's too expensive. You know what I mean? It doesn't have enough games to, have people interested. But all up and down the timeline today is all I see is people excited to get the VR headset, excited to jump into games, unboxings. You know what I mean? People waiting outside for the UPS guy to drop it off.
Yeah,
You know what
I saw that.
So
Yep. Yeah.
people are definitely, excited. You know what I mean? Anytime there's new tech, introduced into, a space that you're interested in, there's always going to be people who, jump in there day one. And that's what you love to see. You know what I mean? You never want to dampen the hype and excitement of people who went out and spent their hard-earned money on something that they're really interested in. So, very happy for everybody who picked it up today. I'm still waiting on, for that one IP. Hopefully, we see something tomorrow during the state of play, because they said there are 5 VR titles there. So hopefully, Half-Life Alex is one of them, or maybe even something different, maybe something from Insomniac. But hopefully, we continue to see them support the headset and release high quality content. It seems that Horizon Call of the Mountain is the real deal. So if they can continue to support it like that, I think it'll have a higher adoption rate than it did the first time around, and keep people interested for a lot longer.
Yeah, no, I it's we're gonna talk about state of play, which is happening. I think you had mentioned that something was coming up soon with regards to a Sony state of play.
I tell. If
I know.
y'all don't understand, I tell y'all way before anybody else did. Like, shout out to my man Jeff Grubb. You know what I mean? He hit the timeline and said something was coming. But I said that weeks prior to that even being announced. So always pay attention to what I say in regards to PlayStation, because I do know what's going on over there. I do have some friends over there who like to drop little nuggets in my ear every once in a while. And I did say this weeks prior to Jeff Grubb saying anything. And I told you guys when we were off air, late February, early March. And guess what? Late February, here we go. So
I do remember that. And B's not exaggerating, by the way. And the one thing I appreciate about you, you're not running around trying to be an insider. You know what I mean?
No,
You see a lot of people doing that on social media. That's usually kind of the red flag that I have.
Right.
You know, and you're right. Like if people have been listening to the show for a long time. Look, there's a reason why Slow-Mo Backslap calls him Be Knowing S. I'm not gonna say the word because I don't want to. YouTube is quick. They got the finger on the demonetization button quick. But you're right. Like not they, but I mean, like people should listen when you say things about things that are PlayStation related. But let me actually be because we know that they're going to present here. And I'm sorry, I had the article up here. So we know that the PlayStation State of Play is going to be tomorrow, February the 23rd. And it looks like they're going to show Rocksteady Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. They're going to show some new footage of that. They're going to have some third-party reveals that they're going to be showing off. And they're going to show... they're going to reveal 5 PlayStation VR2 games that are set to arrive later this year. And as I mentioned, upcoming titles from third-party publishers. So let me ask you, do you think there's any surprises here? Or is it, hey, everyone, just kind of temper your expectations? They're not going to show anything that's...
There's going to be anything that I don't think that's, kind of going to, like, knock your socks off, especially from, like, a first-party standpoint. Like I mentioned, Insomniac's VR title may be there. I can't say for sure. But that's one thing that could be there. But like I said on the timeline, a lot of people were asking, when's the showcase? When is the showcase? And like I said last year, before Jeff Grubb and everybody else started saying that there was supposed to be a showcase, I told you guys that it would be one towards the end of the year. They kind of pushed it back because of everything that they got going on with the Activision Blizzard deal and whatnot. So there is something. I'm guessing it's supposed to be scheduled after the fiscal year. So we should see it sometime in April. I would say sometime early spring, something like that, where they kind of blow out a lot of their first party stuff. We'll see a lot of devs that have been announced, and we haven't seen their content yet. So that is definitely coming. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't get too hyped about this state of play. Of course, you never know what you're going to get from third party. There is rumored that they may be doing the Metal Gear collection that could be shadow dropped tomorrow. So if that happens, I mean that'll be pretty huge. But nothing too crazy. I would expect.
Interesting. Maybe shadow drop. Maybe of Metal Gear. Interesting. But no, that's. I appreciate that insight. B Money. Want to introduce the man, the artist formerly known as Hamp. We've Game Logic in the house. What's up, Game Logic?
Are you guys able to hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, there you are. We can hear you loud and clear, Game Logic. So, Game Logic, I want to say, man, had a blast playing Call of Duty with you last night, man. Ran into some sweaties, but I think we did okay, man. I think we won, like, majority of the matches for the most part.
Yeah, I will admit I was all about leveling weapons last night, so I really wasn't even paying attention to our win-loss ratio. Sometimes that's what you have to do to get your sniper unlocks.
Well, yeah, clearly you unlocked this barrel. I mean, that thing was that attachment that you had on your sniper weapon, your rifle. Like, wow! I was like, that barrel is so long. Why?
Yeah, I always like to walk around with a well-endowed sniper barrel.
Oh wow! Okay, well there you have it. Now, Game Logic, great to have you on. Like I said, I had a blast playing Call of Duty, and I gotta say, man, I gotta toot my own horn here a little bit. Game Logic, I don't play Call of Duty a lot, but when I do, I go an 11 kill streak, which I did in Kill Confirmed. I gotta say, I think Kill Confirmed is probably one of my favorite game modes in that game. A lot of fun, man. But yeah, Hamp, so we were just talking about the PlayStation State of Play event that's coming up. Are you looking forward to tomorrow's event, or is it kind of something you're not really looking forward to?
Yeah, it's I think it'll in my mind, it'll just be a kind of oh by the way show. So nothing in particular that I'm particularly looking out for. And I heard you mention that there's supposed to be some PSVR stuff there, and PSVR doesn't really move the needle as far as I'm concerned. So it'll be good, I'm sure, for people. I see somebody in the chat mention they got their PSVR 2 yesterday, so it'll be good for those people. But other than that, I don't. It sounded like from B Money's brief that this wasn't going to be anything with a very particularly large splash. So be good for the news cycle, but that's about it.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. Also, PlayStation related. Today is the 10-year anniversary of the PlayStation 4 reveal. That happened February 22nd of 2013. I got to be honest with you guys. I can't believe that was 10 years ago. I can't believe that. Like I remember the reveal when it happened. I also remember the reveal of the Xbox One, and yeah, I just can't believe it's been 10 years. That just blows my mind. It's interesting. Like I started off that console generation primarily playing on Xbox One, and then as the generation progressed, I started gravitating more towards the PlayStation 4, and really that's because of some of the the first party games that PlayStation was releasing, and then it's kind of hitting their stride there towards the latter part of the generation. So, but yeah, Jacob, I'm sorry for making you feel old, sir. If it helps you, man, I've been gaming for like 40 years. Jesus, that's a long time. So we got tomorrow's PlayStation State of Play event. But look, I think just in terms of gaming content and just news this week, I think there's definitely some other things to talk about outside of the good old ABK deal, which we'll talk about later on. So, all right. So we do have some Elden Ring news. I don't know if you guys saw this. Elden Ring has crossed 20 million units or copies sold of the game. So yeah, I would guess to say that that's probably the most the most successful game from the Souls from Software type game. So congrats to From Software for 20 million. That's a lot. I mean, this game. Yes, no, Buck. I didn't flip to PlayStation. I still play on Xbox, sir. But yeah, no, that's. I think that's obviously a huge milestone for From Software. 20 million. That's massive. So, also want to quickly welcome Slobo Backslap.
Yo.
The king of KD.
Okay.
What happened?
I don't know about that one, but yeah, what's up? No, I've been having issues with Discord and my mic for some reason. Don't know why, but it's working today, so I'm not gonna complain about it. What's up, guys?
Not much, man. I got to say, I enjoyed our conversation about the NFL today.
Yeah. If this was a different podcast, we could definitely be going. On that topic.
I was actually thinking about that. That maybe we should do a podcast.
Podcast about football. I'm down for it, man.
Yeah, because look, there's still no update on the sale, and I'm not trying to turn this into a sports podcast, but there's no update in terms of the sale of the Washington Commanders. There's not that. So I'm still waiting for that.
I don't want to get deep into it, but we're probably not going to hear anything about that until like late March, because the NFL owners meeting is late March, and they're not going to announce anyone who won the bid for the team until the owners can actually like sit down and vote that owner in. So if it's going to happen, we'll find out like late March, early April. So
okay, gotcha. Okay. Hey, now, Sloman, let me ask you. Now, I don't know how much you can talk about this. Now, you're actually currently beta testing something, right?
Actually, can't speak about it. It wasn't like it wasn't like a top secret beta. It was XDefiant. That's why I was in the closed alpha for. There was an NDA, but the NDA they kind of loosened it. Before you couldn't speak about being in the any kind of closed test or anything about the game. They've loosened it so now like you can speak about the game, but you can't record or stream any of the content. So
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So can you give like any impressions on the beta so far?
oh yeah. I mean, look, it's when I did the first one, so I did the closed test that was like a year and a half ago or so. It was absolutely awful. It wasn't Crossfire X bad, but it was close. It was very very bad. It was terrible. The controls were awful for mouse and keyboard as well as controller. They had really inconsistent time to kill, and just like them haphazardly throwing like all of these factions and characters that weren't necessarily actual characters from the games, but haphazardly throwing these factions in from their other IP just looked like really lazy and silly. In addition to the fact that all the guns were literally ripped directly from the Division. Fast forward to today, the guns are a lot better. The gunplay is a lot better. The even though they do have a little bit of an issue, I don't know if it's just a PC thing, but like I basically just had to just use the default settings for the controller because when I went into the shooting range and the practice mode to try to like find like the best settings, what I normally do when I play a multiplayer game, I got it real tight in the shooting range. I mean, I'm like zipping headshots like crazy. Get into the actual game, I can't hit anything. So it's just like whatever those settings are supposed to do, they work in the shooting range. They don't work in the actual game. So I just went default on everything else and just played it. I think the maps are all right. They could be a little bit better, but they're okay. It's very much it's similar in Rogue Company in some ways, where you have like characters that have a specific ability or they have ultimates that they can use. For example, I kept using this one hacker from the Watchdog games, and whenever my ultimate would go up, I could hack the entire like other team, and so they couldn't use any of their. They could still use their guns, but they couldn't use any of their abilities. Like little things like that. Like, but they need to do some balancing with that because there's this one character from the Far Cry 6 made up island rebel camp. This girl has like this like heal grenade or something, so basically she can just pop this grenade and it gives her heals. Like I understand where they were going with it, but the way people were using it in the game, it heals too fast, too much, too consistently that people were basically using it right before they go into a gunfight, and now they're getting like this really aggressive heal and you're trying to shoot them down and they just don't die. So literally it became people very quickly in just that one weekend test created a meta where everyone was trying to use that character. And so
everyone's running around with the same character.
Yeah, everyone's just using the same 2 or 3 characters that all have overpowered abilities, and so it's like they gotta balance that better.
Yeah.
When you create like it's very much like a mixture of Rogue Company and Overwatch, and when you have a multiplayer game where you have abilities that give people advantages, you gotta make sure that they come with drawbacks too. You gotta make sure they're not too powerful, because then you just basically make it like if you don't have one of these 2 or 3 characters, what are you doing? You're wasting your time. So, but gunplay felt good. I enjoyed it. It's a whole lot better than what it once was. So
that's good to hear,
I'm looking
man.
forward to it.
Yeah, it's good to hear, Slomo. Actually, someone's asking you in the live chat if that others have said it feels like Black Ops. Is that a fair comparison?
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say it feels like Black. It did feel like Black Ops to me, but. The gunplay is good. It's decent first person shooter gunplay. It's
okay,
not,
that's good, man.
I wouldn't say it's anywhere near Call of Duty level. Like, nah, but it is decent, and it's good for Ubisoft. When I say when I compared it to Rogue Company, I mean that with like abilities, but like of course it's still a first person shooter, so it's Rogue Company's a third person perspective shooter, but it's borrowed a lot of elements from a lot of other games, but not so much in the typical Ubisoft sense where you just like, man, you just literally ripping off this one game and putting your IP on top of it. It's not that bad, but they are kind of using ideas that other games use, which is fine because that's usually how games, like if you're doing the same kind of genre, this is typically going to be like a kind of like a hero shooter kind of game.
Okay.
Then you're going to have to borrow elements that work from other games, but then put your own spin to it. The spin of your game design has to work though, and so I think so far what they have is they got something here. Like I think I was able to give out a few invites to people, and the people I gave invites out to, they also enjoyed it. So I think they might have something here for once.
I didn't get an invite.
But I only had limited ones. Man, I gave it out to people I knew who wanted to play.
This is what happens when you pom Chick-fil-A.
Well, no, this is what happens when you pom Popeyes. You know
okay.
If you weren't too busy fighting for your life in the Popeyes, maybe I'll be able to give you an invite.
No one's fighting for their lives at Popeyes, man.
Okay.
Yeah. I got to say, though, it's a problem when the line of McDonald's during lunchtime is longer than the line of Chick-fil-A. I'm just saying. It's a problem.
That has never happened. At least not in my area.
It happens in my area, like all the time. I don't know what it is.
They got to move the Chick-fil-A's away from any other fast food places because the line is too long.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A be causing traffic jams.
They be blocking like other people's lines and stuff. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Matty B says, I stay clear of Chick-fil-A lemonade. Its stuff is pure poison. I don't disagree with you, Matty B. Very wise for saying that. But no, that's good to hear, man, because this is what's the release date for this game?
There is none.
There's none.
There
okay,
is
so
none,
it's still okay.
I kind of suspect based off of like Ubisoft came out last week and said, oh, if they're if there's an E3, we're gonna have a ton of content. I think it will come out this year. Like a closed alpha. Next up likely would be a closed or an open beta, and then it likely will come out. So I'm thinking probably sometime in the second half of the year, XDefiant's going to come out. But they got a lot of other games that are also like really trying to come out this year, like multiplayer stuff, like the Division Heartland is probably coming out this year. That Avatar game that was supposed to come out last December is coming out this year, and there's something else. One of the Assassin's Creed games they showed should be coming out this year too.
Okay.
So, yeah, they got a lot of content. So they're probably gonna try to like find a lane to drop it.
Yeah, Ubi's got some stuff cooking there. That's good to hear, man. That's good to hear. So the other thing I wanted to talk about real quickly is that we talked about B and I were talking about some of the big game that 2023 has really kicked off to some really, really good game releases, and obviously PlayStation VR 2 launching today.
Really, give me one moment because I feel like you're kind of staticky. It might be the way I'm hearing it. I'm gonna drop out, drop it. I'll come back in real quick. Okay.
Hopefully I'm not.
It's not slow mo. I hear it too.
Is it like? So is it real staticky?
It's like it's like your words are being clipped, and there's like feedback to it. Yeah.
Hold on a sec here. Let me.
I don't know if the.
How about now? How about now?
Audience. Say something again.
Is that better?
It's no more feedback, but it's. Are you using like a noise cancellation or a noise gate?
No. Let me check something.
I don't know what it is, but it's there's no static anymore, so at least that's better.
Yeah, as a live chat, if you guys can, if you guys hear like any, hold on a sec here. Turn down my gain here a little bit. Maybe that helps. The live chat, if you guys like, if I coming in static or my words are being cut off, just let me know. I might have to figure. All right, Batty B says I sound fantastic.
Well, look at the audiences. Say you sound good. It's just us on this end in the Discord chat that to do with. That's fine with me. So.
Yeah. Sorry,
I can understand what you're saying. I was just concerned that maybe, like, it was a me thing. And then if it wasn't a me thing, that the audience would be hearing like, what we're hearing. But if they don't hear that, then it's fine.
All right, cool. All right, that's okay. All right, so we were talking about B and I were talking about some of the big releases that have come out. The 2023 really kind of kicked off a strong year in gaming, and I mentioned Hogwarts Legacy. So look, despite some of the controversy for Hogwarts Legacy, the game seems to be doing very well. It's top 267 million hours played. The fan interest has surpassed Fantastic Beasts. I mean, this might be the Elden Ring of 2023, and I would probably say that it may even sell more for 2023. But any surprises there, Slow-Mo? Are you surprised by how well the game's doing?
A little bit. I mean, like I expected it to sell well because it's a big IP outside of gaming, and therefore you're going to get people who aren't in gaming deciding to pick it up. So I expected it to sell well based off of that. I did expect it to review this well and to also actually be this good. It's really like I've only played 2 games since this game came out, really, and it's been that and still trying to get through my Golden Deer playthrough of Fire Emblem Three Houses. So literally, there's only 2 games I've been playing. Returnal came out on PC. I bought it and I installed it, and I still haven't played it. I got Atomic Heart installed and still haven't played, and it's just like everything's on hold because I'm just really enjoying this game. And so it doesn't. I think you kind of get like this perfect storm, despite the boycott situation of here's a popular IP but also a quality title. And when you get that, you're gonna get a ton of sales. Like you take Spider-Man 2018 and Miles Morales, quality titles, but also really popular IPs in and outside of gaming. And that kind of creates just like this, perfect storm where, hey, you got a really good game that actual gamers are going to play and enjoy. And then you got people who aren't necessarily really into the gaming hemisphere that are going to jump on it too.
Yeah. B, Game Logic, any thoughts on Hogwarts Legacy, kind of the early success that it's having?
Man, I knew it was going to be big. Come on now. It's directly related to Harry Potter. Some of the biggest books and biggest franchises from most, little kids, coming up. So, and we haven't had a good Harry Potter game since like PlayStation 2. So it's been a long time to kind of jump back into that world. So it was just the perfect storm. Avalanche. A lot of people weren't too sure about what they would kind of bring to the table, but it looks like they did what they're supposed to do and delivered a pretty solid game. And I think it's going to continue to sell. Like it's doing pretty well. Even it hasn't hit like a big like holiday season or anything like that. So for it to kind of have the high sales mark that it does, and that'll only kind of continue throughout the years. People, tax time rolls around and things try to bounce back in the economy. More people are spending money on games. That'll only increase. So.
Yeah, it's a great point, B. And this is totally anecdotal. I'm not saying that this is the case for many, but I have coworkers that literally went out and bought PlayStation 5s just to play this game because they're huge Harry Potter fans. Like, and it's funny. Like, I would have never suspected that some of these colleagues that I work with would have done that. And they're like, "Oh yeah, I just got Harry Potter when I bought a PlayStation 5." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I obviously, in hindsight now, it seems like Sony made a smart move by, locking down the marketing deal for Hogwarts Legacy. So, yeah, it's definitely look, and it's kind of a slow time for first party for PlayStation, but I mean, when you got Harry Potter and you see all the commercials and at the end of the commercial you hear PlayStation. I mean, I think it's going to help move units, So, yeah. The other thing I want to talk about real quick before we get into the main topic of the evening, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate Friends and Family Plan has been added to 6 countries. So 6 countries. The service is now available in Chile, Hungary, Israel, New Zealand, South Africa, and Sweden. It's already available in Ireland and my dad's home country of Colombia. So, look, this is a Game Logic. I got to tell you, man. I got to tell you, Game Logic. This is a huge move. It just shows you that look, we're in a recession. People are struggling to put food on the table. This is why I like Microsoft Game Logic. All right.
I'm sorry, man. I think I may have dozed off. What were you talking about?
Oh my god. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate Friends and Families coming at 6 more countries now.
I caught it. Yet another thing that I throw in the pool, in the end of the pool with PSVR 2 as a thing that doesn't really move the needle. But I mean, I think it's good for some people, and so it's good that it's out there.
All right. All right. So let's hold on a sec here. Oh, real quick, Slow. You know what I meant to tell you, man? Totally off topic here.
Yep.
Played some COD yesterday with Game Logic.
Uh-oh.
Gotta say, man, went well.
All right. Next
kinda
time you guys on, just let me know. I'm gonna jump in, man.
I was gonna reach out to you, but I remember you saying that your shoulder was hurting.
Oh well, yeah. I probably was drugged up and probably not coherent to do anything. So no.
Yeah. No, but I gotta say it went well, man. Like I gotta say, I think the highlight for me was I think Game Logic heard me cut my enthusiasm. I went like on 11 kill streak. And didn't even die.
Okay.
We're playing kill confirm.
Well, but that's what the kill streak is, Enrique. You kill people, you don't die.
I know what I'm saying. Like I was so excited. That just doesn't happen to me.
Kill streak and I didn't die. Like
that doesn't. I'm saying, but that doesn't happen to me. You know what I'm saying? Like just the excitement. I felt like slow-mo backslap for like about 5 minutes.
Oh my gosh, here we go.
You know, I even called I'm
glad you guys have fun.
Yeah, I even called a cruise missile strike. It was pretty exciting.
Did he hit anybody?
No, I didn't hit anyone. Unfortunately, I missed. Still, look, when you don't get a lot of kill streaks, it's you got to build your way up to hitting people with the cruise missiles. So, I did get a kill off a airstrike though. That was very satisfying to say the least. But definitely a lot of I won't use the word because I don't want to be demonetized here, but definitely a lot of cheese balls on COD. I tell you, man, the level of camping in that game is just out of control. Like
the maps are designed for it, man. It's just like this. It's like I don't know. I don't play Call of Duty too often, but I've been playing this one way more than like say maybe the past like 5 years of Call of Duties. But like you can see it in the map design. Like they want people to camp. Like you don't design your maps this way unless you expect some level of camping. So
yeah, I mean it's the camping is just I mean it's literally people just laying down on the ground and that's it. That's all they're doing.
I've said this before while we were playing, and I'll say this again for everyone to hear. I think that every multiplayer game that charts stats and people throw out their KD. Look at my KD. Look at my KDA. Look at my stats and everything. Look how many kill streaks I got. Like, I think they should start charting a new stat, and that stat is average distance ran per match. And that stat will let you know who's a camper and who's not a camper. So when people go out there, I'm certified out here. I'm verified out here. Look at my 2.5 KD. Ain't nobody trying to see me. All right, where's that average? The average ran per match stat. Oh, you only move 30 meters on average per match. You're a camper. It kind of allows you to understand the kind of player somebody is, and so that when people start running around talking that talk, you know what's up with them. So, yeah, I think that's something they should start actually collecting data on it. But who knows if that's something that they can actually do? Like other stuff, the stats you get. I mean, you can just record the scoreboard at the end of the match and to get that. But like actual distance ran per match is probably a different logging method that developers probably aren't interested in putting the work in to get done. So, but it would be nice to see, at least on my end.
Yeah, no, it would be interesting to see because I mean, like I said, I mean it's pretty egregious. I mean, look, and I at one point was like, you know, I'm just gonna partake in the camping, and I think I laid down. I was like, you know, somebody tried to knife me, and I just gunned him down. I mean, it was
You put a blanket down so that you weren't sitting on the harsh ground. You put a
yeah,
blanket
exactly.
down, you
I had
got
to
a
be
little-
comfortable. I brought some water with me just in case I got parched. You know.
Oh man.
Yeah. So, but no, and then I think I was kind of incorporating because one of the things I noticed too is a lot of people kind of run and gun in COD, and so Game Logic was kind of I guess Game Logic, would you say be more tactical about it, kind of like in your movement?
Yeah, I mean, like I go ahead, Logic.
No, yeah, I mean, just for me, particularly when I'm working on leveling weapons, or particularly when the loadout, the loadout mixed with the mode, may not necessarily be the best thing. Like I said, I needed, last night, I needed to work on leveling some sniper rifles, and in kill confirmed and in hardpoint, right? People tend to move very, very, very quickly between their current location and the objective. And when you have a sniper rifle and you constantly have to shift position because the objective is moving around, and your 2P is an auto pistol, that means you're not necessarily set up for those best you're not necessarily set up the best for surprise encounters while you're shifting position. So being a little bit more deliberate about your movement is sometimes better, rather than rolling up on somebody at high speed who is armed with an assault rifle, while you've got a 9mm auto pistol. But that being said, I also needed to level my auto pistol last night, and it was popping. So yeah, I was still having a good time. You just sometimes the way that game is crafted, sometimes you just have to accept, that there are things you have to do based on, the map and the mode that may not be your natural play style.
Yeah, I just run around like a chicken with my head cut off for the most part.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm just running and gunning, and I mean I rely on the map, and to see who's pinging on the map, and knowledge of how the map works, and just like listening for people. So I mean if I sit in one spot for too long, I'm a get. I don't know. I don't have ADD. At least I don't think I do. I just can't do it. I just start moving around. So that's how I play.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah,
go ahead. Yep.
I'll say it helps to start paying attention to spawns too. So on those maps, Cortac and Spec Ops, they only spawn at I think two. Each team has two spawn points per map. In some ways, I think one of the modes there is a spawn on partner effect, and maybe that's kill confirmed, or I'm not sure. But starting to understand where you killed someone and where it is likely that they're going to be spawning from, and what their attack vector is going to be coming into the area if you're still in the same area, definitely helps set up for kind of expecting where people are going to be coming from, or help you decide where to maneuver to based on where they're not going to be spawning.
Yeah, and I noticed that like when I've kind of incorporated some of like that slower movement game logic you were doing, kind of like more tactical pace. Like, I mean, I was just catching people running into me and just gunning them down. I would sprint when needed, but I think it definitely helped me in terms of getting more kills. So, but I also, like I was telling Game Logic today, Slow-Mo, like using the Elite Series 2 controller and turning up the the trigger sensitivities. Mm-hmm. That's helped too in my aim down and then my shooting in Call of Duty. More so, I would say more so in Call of Duty than I think in Halo, for me at least. So, yeah. All right, I want to get into Microsoft signing a 10-year deal with Nintendo and Nvidia for Call of Duty. That was officially announced yesterday. Brad Smith, who took to Twitter. So actually, for those, I'm not sure, this was kind of mentioned in the news that Sony does remain, well, we all know Sony remains opposed to Microsoft's acquisition of ABK, but the two companies, actually, Microsoft and Sony, did meet yesterday in Brussels. And then, Brad Smith did the whole presentation to the EU and showed the pie charts where there was no Nintendo in those pie charts. It was 80% Sony in the global market versus 20% for Xbox. And then, they broke down the numbers elsewhere. Brad Smith, they being Brad Smith. But he did actually go out on Twitter and said, we've now signed a binding 10-year contract to bring Xbox games to Nintendo gamers. This is just part of our commitment to bring Xbox games and Activision titles like Call of Duty to more players on more platforms. He actually did tweet it looks like there's a Microsoft Nintendo logo here. Where it says Microsoft and Nintendo have negotiated and signed a binding 10-year legal agreement to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo players the same day as Xbox with full feature and content parity. And so they can experience Call of Duty just as Xbox and PlayStation gamers enjoy Call of Duty. We're committed to providing long-term equal access, long-term being timed, equal access to Call of Duty to other gaming platforms, bringing more choice to more players and more competition to the gaming market. I'm still trying to figure out how that deal brings more competition to the gaming market. That's another conversation. And so that was his tweet. Now, look, real quick before we get into some of the other news items, and obviously they signed the deal with Nvidia for 10 years too, where Microsoft has reached a deal where
GeForce Now.
Yeah, with GeForce Now, the GeForce Now will see Xbox games that are also on PC released on Nvidia's GeForce Now cloud service. This will include ABK games and Call of Duty. Again, these agreements are contingent if the deal is approved by the regulatory bodies. Now, I do want to just comment on something here quickly. Jeff Keighley actually responded to Brad Smith's Brad Smith's tweet and said price parity 2 ? That sighs because of what happened after Jeff Keighley tweeted that. And asked the question. Simply asked the question. Earlier I said, and you weren't here, Slim, I said, I'm going to get a little spicy today. A little spicy. And I know there's people who don't like me referring to the extreme fanatical group of, not all Xbox gamers are fanatics, but there's a fanatic element that I often refer to as QAnon-like. They went after Jeff Keighley and some of the stuff. Oh, Keighley, when have you ever been accountable with PlayStation? As a matter of fact, I heard on a podcast that somebody was like, well, there's Jeff Keighley again. He's clearly biased. He clearly has an agenda. And if you don't think so, you must be smoking something. And this is why I refer to some of the more extremist elements of the Xbox community as QAnon-like, because of stuff like that. Again, we've gone through this exercise with Jeff Keighley and the more extreme elements of the Xbox community, where they've even questioned his integrity. They've questioned the Game Awards. They said the Game Awards are biased, and especially when Kojima's Death Stranding was nominated for Game of the Year. They said the fix was in. It was because of Jeff Keighley. And even when Jeff Keighley explained to them how the process actually works, provided the link to the Game Awards website that shows you how it works, the fact that he even said, look, I don't vote. I have nothing to do with the nominees, who wins. I don't have anything to do with that. Here's how this
though.
Yeah.
I don't think it's biased against Xbox. I do think it's some kind of rigged. When I can predict what's going to happen, and I'm just watching the show, and I'm like, oh, well, this game is one game of the year, because based upon how they plan the show out, okay, the runner up, because you usually, like, especially with like last year when you got God of War Ragnarok and you got Elden Ring, right? One of them is going to win. We all knew that. Like with Red Dead 2 and God of War 2018, God of War Ragnarok got like, oh, we're gonna play Blood on the Snow, amazing song. We're gonna have an orchestra play that. It's gonna win all these awards. We're gonna let what's his name stand up there for 2 hours and drone us to death with a speech. We're gonna do all this stuff and then give the Game of the Year award to the other team. That's what happened with Red Dead 2. Hey, they played the song from Red Dead. They did all kind. Red Dead won every award possible. The guy that kept going up there couldn't hold them all.
Yeah.
And then God of War won. I mean, it's obvious. Like he can say what he wants, but it's not a fix against a particular platform, but it is a Jeff Keighley, I like to try to make everybody happy kind of thing. Like, oh, well, I'm gonna make sure that all the big names can come out of here feeling, hey, we won something. We got, even if we didn't get Game of the Year, we won all these other awards. Yay for us. It's whatever. You can even predict the nominees for Game of the Year. It's the same every year. There's always one Nintendo representative. There's always 2 Sony representatives. There's always a couple of multiplats, the best multiplat that came out that year. Same. And then a token indie. It's the same shit. My bad. Go ahead, Enrique.
Yeah, no, and I think I think we could maybe come to that conclusion with other other Game of the Year awards shows.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You see a lot of you could look. It's not like when you see like a lot of popular games that were by journalism by journalists, games that were kind of held in high regard. But yeah, I think it's obvious. Yeah, those games are probably going to be Game of the Year.
I tell you what, I can guarantee you this right now in February. I guarantee you this right now. Hogwarts Legacy won't get a single nomination at Keighley's award show.
Yeah.
Not a single.
I mean,
one.
that's going to be interesting how that plays out, because again, the media is the one that votes and nominates the nominees for, and so we know how the media in some instances has felt about Hogwarts Legacy, but to my point, like I see it in the live chat, people are like, oh no, Jeff could say whatever he wants, he's a Sony fan. I'm like, again, listen, the tinfoil hats are on. And the conspiracy theorists are out, and it's just like, come on, guys. Like I've been following Jeff for a long time. I don't think there's this agenda, this like there's like some kind of Illuminati against Microsoft that Jeff's pulling the strings to, and I think it's crazy if anyone thinks that. I think it's quite ridiculous, honestly.
Did that Illuminati infiltrate their first party and sabotage their games were coming out? I mean,
yeah, right. Yeah, I guess Jeff Keighley is the reason why Starfield got canceled. It's his fault, right? But again, like you hear these shows and because of this commentary, and I thought it was a fair question, Jeff asking that question. I didn't think it was out of bounds.
What was the purpose of his question again? Because I didn't see the tweet. I don't think. Yeah. Was he asking would the Nintendo version of COD be the same price as the other versions of the game, or was he asking what was he asking exactly?
So in the tweet it says that Microsoft and Nintendo negotiated and signed a binding 10-year legal agreement to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo players. Same day as Xbox with full feature and content parity. Okay. So what Jeff is saying, well, does that include price parity too? Meaning that is the Xbox version going to be the same price as the Nintendo version?
Oh, absolutely.
Because I mean,
you know it's going to be the same price.
I mean,
it's going to be $70, man.
Look, I'm leading
across the board.
Look, I'm leading to $70, but it's not something Microsoft's confirmed. Say, hey, you know what? We're gonna definitely offer price parity.
Okay, let's go down that rabbit hole, right? Let's say the deal goes through. Okay, we're in the timeline where the deal went through, and they own Activision Blizzard King, and now those binding contracts they signed with Nvidia and Nintendo are now legit, and they're gonna now make a Call of Duty on a Nintendo platform, not the Nintendo Switch, but a Nintendo platform. It's highly rumored that Nintendo within the next 12 months or so would either announce and release a new platform that's going to be maybe an updated Switch or maybe a brand new name thing. Who knows? But it's definitely going to be more powerful than what the current Switch is. More than likely, they would go that route, or as David said in the chat, had Call of Duty available through xCloud on the Switch. Even though, like, we really think here with a game that's not in development on that platform at all, it's not going to be the quick turnaround it is for Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. It's going to take them a few years to get that up. More than likely, it's not going to be on the Switch. But Nintendo platform, Nintendo's already jumped out there making Tears of the Kingdom $70, so you already know what's going to happen with the rest of their first party content after that. Yeah, it's gonna be $70, man.
Yeah, look, I
It's
look,
gonna be $70
I
across
think
the board.
the only way it won't be $70 is if Call of Duty continues to release on last gen consoles. And as long as that is taking place,
Is it releasing
then,
now on last? I've never even checked in this. Is it still releasing on Xbox Ones and PS4s?
yeah, I believe so.
Oh.
yeah, there's a PS4
Then-
bundle of Modern Warfare 2
Okay.
out right now.
So if they do a Switch version and let's call it the Switch 2, okay? A Switch 2 and Switch 1 version, I can see the Switch 1 version being, well, how much is the PS4 and Xbox One version? 60?
Yep.
Okay, I can see the Switch version being 60 and the Switch 2 version being $70.
Wait, in the live chat they're saying it's 70 on PS4.
It's 70 on PS4?
Let me see something real quick.
Oh my God.
No,
Imagine.
I'm pretty sure it's $60 on PS4.
Oh man, yeah, I'm about to go look it up because good grief, man. Imagine having a PS4 and spending that much on Call of Duty.
Yeah, I'm trying to look it up
but-
right now. I do see the bundle. Hold on a sec here.
It's $60. I'm seeing $60. Whoa, never
Yeah.
mind. Nope.
No, $70.
Well, there's a cross-
It's
There's a cross-gen edition. So okay,
Right.
so there is the regular
Oh.
version.
it's $70 for the cross gen. It's both versions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's they're giving you like the PS4, PS5 version for $70.
Right.
Interesting. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
On CD keys, it's $60.
Hey, bro, it's gonna be $70, man.
Well, I look.
just
I-
think
I don't-
The Nintendo version gonna be $70.
Look, I think the
so.
price parity isn't necessarily related to. I don't think Jeff's question is geared at. Is it going to be $70 on Nintendo? I think what he's getting at is hey, what's up, Gaming Forte? Forte's in the live chat. I think what Jeff's asking is that mean that there's going to be parity with the Xbox? Like, is the Xbox price point going to be the same as its competitors? Because look, Microsoft owning this game, and they're the platform holder. They could do whatever they want with this game in terms of pricing, and I think there has been a lot of conversation around parity per se in terms of pricing, and I think that's what Jeff was asking. I didn't think that question was out of bounds, but the way some of the more extreme elements of the Xbox community reacted to them, like they were very upset, and the whole bias thing. But I didn't think it was an unfair question or it was a ridiculous question. I think it's a fair question because again, if Microsoft deal goes through, they're the platform. They could price this thing any way they want. I mean, they could. I mean, they own it. I'm not saying they're going
up to like $80.
No, like going to
up
six,
$80
like making it 60, and then everyone else is 70.
Oh, you mean 60 for Xbox, but everyone
Yes.
else is 70?
Yeah.
They could.
I mean, again,
But
I'm not saying it's going to
realistically
happen.
do that. Yeah, no, because
But-
they already raised their own games.
Yeah, I
to
again,
70 with Redfall and Starfield.
They did.
So it's,
They did.
Yeah.
they did, but again, I mean, this is also Call of Duty, and if you're trying to drive more people to your platform, $60. I mean, again, I'm not saying they're going to do it. I do think it's going to be 70. By the way, I do. But again, I think my point goes back to what Jeff was asking. I didn't think his question was really out of bounds per se, but people were upset.
But
They were attacking
I don't
him.
think they would use the price to drive people to the console, because what's going to drive it is Game Pass, and that's what they really
Yeah.
They want Game
wanted-
Pass, yeah.
want to drive. You know what I mean? So having it at $60 or $70 or $50 won't make a difference. They want you to subscribe to Game Pass.
Right. Although I still contend that I don't know. Well, I mean, of course, I'm not going to say they haven't thought this through. Clearly they have. They spent $70 billion. They thought about this in some level of degree. But I think if you are the kind of gamer, and I don't know if this is primarily the Call of Duty community or not, but if you're the kind of gamer that you only play COD and 2K and that's it all year long, I don't think Game Pass is the deal that you want.
Right.
Because you think about it, right? I spent $70 on Call of Duty. I spend and then also battle passes, so like additional so let's say $30 altogether for like 3 seasons of the battle passes for the next year. And then I spend gobbles of money on 2K, right? But like just focus on Call of Duty for a moment. Game Pass all year round. Game Pass Game Pass Ultimate was like $180, right?
Yeah.
So that's actually more money than I would be spending normally just to play COD. So although you're hitting me with the, hey, I ain't got to spend $70 up front, I can just get this $1 deal in Game Pass or $10, $15, whatever it is to play Game Pass. Over the long run, I'm actually spending more money than what I would be spending if I just did what I would have been normally doing, which is just buy the game and then buy the battle pass and then just play the game. Especially if you some of the other like the more popular aspects of Call of Duty now, because you look at the breakdown, you look at like Twitch, you look at the numbers where people are watching, where people are playing. People primarily up in that war zone, then they in the traditional Call of Duty experience. I'm over on the traditional side. I don't really care for Warzone like that, but
Right.
there's a lot of people that like Warzone way more than me, so it's like that's free, so you don't even need Game Pass for that. That's free. It's not in Game Pass. It's free
Warzone.
stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, again, where does Game Pass actually make that driver for someone? They're going to have to, I think. And this is where I guess.
What if they offer you a $1 deal?
No, but then at
The
some
dollar
point,
deal only gonna last for so long though.
right? And then I have to buy the game anyway.
But
So,
if you're in the $1 deal, right? You're in Game Pass, then you could buy the game outright at a discounted price.
But I
But
still
then
feel like
I could just buy the game.
right. I feel like I would just let that.
No, I understand that, but if you pay $1, right, and the $1 deal, like someone said, lasts for a month, once you buy that game in Game Pass and your subscription runs out, you still own that game.
The Game Pass discount, it's anywhere between 5 to 15% off the game. So like it's still not that much of a discount, really. And then I just don't feel like it's worth really all of the shenanigans and trying to figure it out and whatnot. But like I lost my train of thought where I was going with that. Damn.
I mean, everything that Slow-Mo has said are the detractions from the arguments that lots of fanatics are running around and saying that the day the deal closes that they're going to sign up an additional 50 million people to Game Pass overnight. That's highly unlikely because of all the reasons that Slow-Mo said, and people will also trot out the $1. Game Pass is really only $1. And look, you're going to have people like Uncle Rudy, who always talk about how they play 3-card Monty with their bills and do all the mental gymnastics and shenanigans and somehow always come out on top when it comes time to split up the dinner bill at the restaurant. But only certain people play those games. Lots of other people just want to buy things in the most simple, straightforward way possible and not be bothered with all that foolishness. And yes, there's going to be some people who, play all the games to get the deal for $1, but a lot of people, I mean, I'll just comment on myself, 9 times out of 10, I can't be bothered, right? I have more important things to do. So, I tend to consume in the way that is quickest and easiest and creates the least amount of bother for me. So, there's going to be, some people who onboard because of that potentially, but it's not going to be a mass exodus. In a generation, when you're looking at when it's time for people to switch out, when it's time for new gamers to onboard, there's potentially additional scratch there. But that's mostly what that dynamic will produce.
Yeah, I just remember where my train of thought was. I got it back. So to piggyback off of what Logic just said, it is I would say it's a bigger benefit Call of Duty going into Game Pass for people who are already subscribed to it for other reasons. Because you're already signed into it. You already got it for Xbox first party or other games or whatever. You're already subscribed to it anyway. Now you don't have to pay for Call of Duty. But that's not the primary Call of Duty player in the Call of Duty community. So again, it's added value, quality added value to the 25 to 29 million that's already in there. But I don't see it moving the needle for people who I only play Call of Duty. I don't need all these other games I'm not interested in, nor do I care about your first party. I just want Call of Duty, and I'm not going to sign up and spend $180 a year and then forget to turn it off just so I can play Call of Duty. Now, the other thing that I was going to get to was, now that we kind of like pretty much said, like, you know, it's not really this huge benefit for strictly the Call of Duty community. How can they attract them to sign up for Game Pass? Well, what if you told them, and see that now this is where you're going to get into some murky water. What if you told them that season pass, that battle pass, you ain't got to worry about that. Sign up for Game Pass Ultimate. We got you. That might change things. Now people might be like, well, I don't have to spend the additional for that. Now, I haven't done the math on that either. That still might not equal up to the 180 you're paying per year. But that still would be different than what someone's getting on PC, on PC through Steam, through Nintendo's whatever, and through PlayStation. You're not going to have that ability to sign up to a service and get that in there, but that's going to be when they own it, they have the potential to kind of do that to make their service more attractive.
Right, and you're at least closer if you do that. Right now you're talking about $110 because you're $70 for the full price game, and then I think it's about $10 per season for the battle passes.
It's about like 3 or 4 seasons a year before they. So let's say 4 seasons at $10. That's $40. Season pass is $30, $70 on top of the $7. That's $140. So you're still $40 less than what you're spending for Game Pass throughout the year.
Yep, and again you approach that kind of simplification of pricing model.
Yeah. So again, this still doesn't really even equal up to why would you sign up for this all year long if that's all you play, and then you're not getting 2K in there. So we always this imaginary casual guy that kind of probably is pretty accurate, but like the guy that plays Call of Duty 2K and Madden, right? Madden gets into Game Pass too late. It gets into Game Pass 6 months after it comes out. That's too late for a Madden fan. 2K shows up eventually as well, right, B-Money?
Yeah. Usually right before the playoffs.
Right before the playoffs. Also, too late for a 2K fan. And then you got Call of Duty. Whereas for the casual dude that just like, which is a significant number of console gamers, the value isn't there for Game Pass. Because the other 2 of those 3 games show up too late, and the one that is in there, even if you threw in, hey, it's all rolled into the package. Your season pass, your battle passes, it's all in there. That's still, if I bought that all on my own, I'm still coming out $40, cheaper. So
I wonder if Microsoft, well, it's not even that I wonder. I know they do. PlayStation has the same thing. They know the breakdown of their player base that plays Call of Duty and plays other games. And you guys are right about how big the player base is that would not support something like that because all they play is Call of Duty. But I kind of think we're underselling how many people do play Call of Duty a lot, but they also play a hell of a lot of other games too. They play Call of Duty like 4 or 5 months out of the year, maybe 6 half the year, and then they're off on other things. And those games may not be NBA, Call of Duty, and stuff like that. there is a
But
number out there.
What is the percentage of those people that aren't the 30 million that are already there?
Oh no, yeah, you're absolutely that, and that's the thing though. The one thing that Slomo did say was the fact that the biggest benefit is to the people that are already there. Now, the people you're going to attract from that is a very, very small, minute amount of that number. So even if you just threw a random number out there saying 5% of the people that play Call of Duty that doesn't have Game Pass that enter into that demographic of people that play games outside of Call of Duty that could see value in something like Game Pass over the course of what Call of Duty sells, that's still a significant amount of people, so part of me knows those numbers have been run.
How do you quantify significant?
Well, you don't.
All I'm saying
significance
is
in general of just millions of people.
We're going to sign up 50 million people overnight.
No,
who said that?
Who said that?
That's all over. That's all over Twitter in the Xbox.
Well, first of all,
Well,
that's why my Twitter account is fucking freaking off, and I barely even look at it because half those people make no sense. I don't even know why.
How about
you
just mute or block those people?
No, because everybody else knows.
When I send you messages on Twitter, you actually see them. How about that?
How about
Well, I think
how about you just continue to keep texting me so I ain't got to look at Twitter and my eyes bleed from all the erratic stuff I see on there.
I'm old, man. I ain't trying to use.
You ain't that old, man. You younger than me.
Yeah, and just before we move on, so I do want to go back to Slow-Mo, what you were saying about the price comparison. So Call of Duty, and if anybody wants to fact check me and correct me, please do. Call of Duty, the $70 baseline game for the current generation, does not include Season 1 Battle Pass. You get the Season 1 Battle Pass when you step up, and the only step up that's available right now is the Vault Edition, which forces you to overjump the $10 edition that you would normally pay for the Season 1 Battle Pass just by itself, and go all the way to a $100 edition for that Season 1 Battle Pass, plus other stuff that they bundle with it.
But that's just like $10 off then, if you think about it, right? So the game's 70, you got another 30, and then like another 10 for all the extra crap, and then like they just made it hey, look, see, you're already giving us half your wallet here, just we'll get $10 off. So I still think it ends up being like if you just wiped all that away and say if you sign up Game Pass Ultimate, $15 a month, you don't have to worry about any of that.
Oh no, I completely and entirely agree with you. I was just commenting to get the numbers straight. That's all.
I got you.
I also think that we're also thinking that people are going to stick with it for a year. Like most people fall off of stuff after a while. Like I know Slomo, perfect example. I know you. How many times have you had EA Play and then just pay that monthly fee and then just dumped it like 2 months later after you haven't touched it in a while? You don't run that whole subscription for a whole year.
Yeah, I've done it at least multiple times.
And they give you
getting rich.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And they give you
Jedi Survivor wasn't coming out next month, it would be.
Well, and that's the thing though.
Now.
So I'm gonna ask you this: so why didn't you just? Because you got to think it's $100 for a year. You could pay the whole year and not even worry about it and get it at a significant discount, which is what, $20 off.
Yeah,
so I think it's $10 a month. So you'll save $20 if you do it for the whole year. So a lot of people don't do that. Like I did it one time, and I said, you know what? I don't. As much as I can see 2 games in there I want. Most of those games, I'm like, even if you're a Madden person or something, pay $30 to play it in August? August through December, or is that $40?
Nobody's playing Madden on PC. Madden is
dead. Oh no! I'm not talking about what I just say. I'm just throwing a number out there, like a game out there like Madden. But it's just a simple fact that most people probably don't stay with it. Like the only people that do, like there's a number out there for people that actually play Call of Duty literally all year round. And it's a big number, but it's not as big as. It's probably not even half of the player base. It's probably a good quarter of it, maybe 30% of the player base plays a lot, which is a really big number.
Lot of probies there, Forte.
No, but I'm saying, but we
don't know. The thing is, we don't know.
You'll never. No one can say that. Okay, so
that's why I'm saying, like, I wouldn't even like. That's why I wouldn't discuss that.
What we put money.
We don't know.
No, listen. These are. There's no guarantee in anything, but there is some irrational thought that can be had from this. What if someone told you that I would bet you this much money that less than this percent of people play this game? Would you say that no? It's more people that play Call of Duty year round than this number. If I said 50% of the player base would you make that bet?
No, I wouldn't say it because I don't know.
What was the sales total of Call of Duty last year?
Oh, you're talking about
the down year.
The down year. I don't know.
What was it, 20-something million?
20 million across 3 platforms.
3 platforms. So that's saying
if we just divide it up, let's just say that's 7 million per platform. We know it's not equal to that, but let's just
it's not equal to that, yeah.
So if there's 7 million per platform, there's 30 million people in Game Pass right now. What percentage of that 30 million is in there that plays Call of Duty?
Probably a good 11% of it.
So that gives us what? 3.2 million, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying that basically another, 3.6, 3.8 million people who are not in Game Pass would be interested in going in there.
That's probably about it. It wouldn't be more. It wouldn't be no 50%. It wouldn't be no 30% extra. It'd probably be it's something stupid like 5%, maybe 6. The top end would be 10.
Again, I'm very hesitant to quote percentages like that because we really don't know.
Well, no, I mean, but
I think let me finish. I think what ends up.
Forte, you said at the start, you said that these are percentages and numbers that both Sony, Microsoft,
they know
Activision,
these numbers.
They know these numbers, but we don't.
We don't.
Know those numbers.
And what ends up happening, Forte, and I'm not saying you're doing this on purpose. But this is how things start like churning. Where people hear someone say something on a podcast, like Google Poe, and says Forte's right. He makes a ton of sense. Forte's not even giving us any numbers that we know that are based on any actual data that's been released by Microsoft or Sony. And now you have people in the live chat. And again, I'm not saying you do this on purpose.
You sound like Optimus Prime right now, by the way.
Yeah, Autobots roll out. That's why I'm kind of like very hesitant to.
Well, it's not about
because wait, let me finish. Let me finish.
It's not about an actual. Listen, it's not about.
Let me finish real quick. But it's hard to have that. It's hard to have that conversation because I'm seeing it right now. Like Brad Smith said, and he's beat this drum, and Microsoft's beat this drum that this deal is going to give 150 million more people or devices a chance to play Call of Duty, and he's saying this is why the deal would go through. And so you have a lot of people saying, oh well, that means 150 million people are going to be playing COD. No, that's not the case. That's actually a little overstated. I mean, you got to remember all these.
No, he's just taking it. He's just taking the raw player base that plays that Nintendo has.
But here's the thing: that those 150 million people have the ability to play that game already, and either they have the ability, they've done so by going a different route to have access to that game, or they just don't want to.
What did he actually say? What was the actual statement?
He said this now. He goes, what did he say? He said Smith said that this gives 150 million more people or devices a chance to play Call of Duty should this deal go through. And this has kind of been the talking point that, and I get it, like that's Microsoft. This is what they should be saying as they talk about gaining access or giving access to other, to more players to kind of, obviously diffuse some of the concerns by the regulatory bodies. But look, I mean,
people read way too much into this stuff. But okay.
But that's my point. Like people are taking those numbers and it's just that means 150 million people are going to play. Like I've heard it on you have podcasters saying, oh, look at the revenue. This is going to drive massive amounts of revenue for COD because it's on Nintendo. What?
And
how do we?
But that's why I brought up the whole. Well, how much did it sell last year? How much did it sell? Period. You know what I mean? And then we can just break it down by platform. You know what I mean? We can break down the average, and then that gives you a guesstimate of what the number could be, instead of just saying 50 million people are going to sign up. Because if Call of Duty isn't selling 100 million copies a year, then 150 million people ain't playing Call of Duty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And even then, if you think about like, I can't remember what the stat was, but there was a stat out there a few years back about how many people of the Switch player base also own an Xbox or PlayStation. It was a pretty high number. It was a pretty high number there. So you got also add like, well, whatever that percentage number was, are people who already had access to Call of Duty and already had the choice to either buy it or not buy it. Why would they then like choose to get it if they didn't get it before on the Xbox or PlayStation on the Nintendo Switch when they already had access? You see what I mean? Like it's like, so that kind of also cuts into that 150 million right there.
Right.
And so it's just like, even then it's like, it's not, it's never going to mean 150 million people are now going to play Call of Duty.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. Yeah,
I'm not-
absolutely.
I'm not saying-
people
I'm not saying
just
you were
have a
saying that either.
well, no, people just have an issue with him just coming out and say at 150 million or 150 million devices. He could, if he would have came out and said this gives the opportunity for a potential. If he said the word potential, everybody would be okay with this. Because the word potential.
Well,
means
I don't care either way. What I'm talking about.
No. I'm just saying, but that's in general because you got to think people are.
Is the
a lot of
absolute value people are
zebras,
putting on this?
A lot of zebras out here, man, that like to follow in herds. You got to remember that.
I mean, you're not lying, but but I guess the other.
I will say this:
Yeah.
if he would have said devices, if he just would have left it at devices, then I'd be like, all right, well, look, I own a Switch OLED and an Xbox and a PlayStation, so I have all these devices. So like, yeah,
right,
I mean,
it's extra devices. That's what he said. Yeah,
I think player sounds
more
sexier.
Accurate,
right.
I think player sounds.
Well, that's
better.
what I'm saying. Yeah.
So his specific quote, which at least in one occasion was to Richard Quest while he was being interviewed on CNN, was a lot changed today because Microsoft has announced 2 agreements that together will bring Call of Duty, the game that everyone has been talking about, to 150 million more people on Nintendo devices and Nvidia's cloud streaming services, which is a very convoluted mathematical statement. Right?
We don't know how
like
many people are on the devices. That's the thing. We don't know what Nvidia's is.
Yeah, it's a large chunk of those 150 million people have
Nintendo
Nintendo devices. Or
the Nvidia thing is pointless because the only people who are going to have access to Call of Duty through GeForce Now are people who already own GeForce Now, so it doesn't matter. Like,
well, I will say this because I get what we're saying, and I think it's like I said, at this point, it's just all semantics and how they word and how they say stuff. Like everybody's a wordsmith when it comes to everything around this freaking acquisition. That's why I wish it just hurried up and ended. But the biggest thing is the Switch, no matter what, it's like it's the possibility of how many more people. Like I know people that bought GTA Trilogy on their PS5. But I also know a bunch of people that bought it on their Switch too for some god-awful reason. I don't understand why. And the ability to play it on the go is one of those things. So, yeah, I can honestly see a significant, I ain't gonna say significant, a pretty good amount of people still buy this game for the ability to play it like that. Especially if they keep it. Oh, have you seen the games that sell on the Switch? In the state that they run in?
Call of Duty players, serious Call of Duty players playing Call of Duty.
Wait,
mobile
okay
on the Nintendo device.
Okay,
you just want to die, huh? You just want to die over and over again.
No, they'll be in their own.
No, you just changed the formula by saying Call of Duty Mobile.
No,
that's not what they've said. They said Call of Duty at parity.
I didn't mean to say the actual Call of Duty mobile game.
The Call of Duty mobile game actually looks pretty good. I saw it today.
I heard. I don't know.
Right.
I'm talking about the actual Call of Duty that's going to come out on everywhere else, but you're playing it on a device that you can play it mobile with that small screen.
Well, you already said by the time this happens, there will be a completely new device.
Yes, but I'm okay. Here's another assumption. I'm assuming
we're assuming that this device will be it'll be a hybrid system still. Yeah,
but you're talking about the selling point of someone deciding to get Call of Duty on that Nintendo device because they can play it mobile, and I'm telling you, like, why would you decide to do this to your KD?
Why?
Well, I think some
do
people
it all
would.
the time.
I think
Wait,
people
hold on,
would,
man. There's a
though.
lot of people that do that.
That's why you have Smurf accounts.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
Hey, real
That's
quick,
true.
I gotta get this super chat,
maybe
gentlemen.
It's just me, but I would never. I mean,
Yeah, I wouldn't either,
even
Slimo,
play
but
Call
some
of
people
Duty
would.
on them little trash consoles. Y'all think are advanced right now, but like,
Oh,
but that's just me.
wow. Hey, real quick,
That's
let
just
me
me, you know,
let me get
like,
the super chat. Let me get the
like
super chat from
Aaron.
Buck. $5 super chat from Buck says, on eve of huge EC summit, Xbox makes 10-year binding deal, which I want to talk about this 10-year deal more. Binding deal with Microsoft. Keeley first response to Brad Smith. Direct is price parity, and you surprise Xbox mad. Yeah, actually, I am surprised, Buck, that somebody would get upset over what I think is a legitimate question about pricing, considering how big this deal is and that it's Call of Duty. Yeah,
Well,
but
yeah,
go ahead.
Here's the problem: the people who negatively responded and dogpiled and jumped on Jeff Keighley for asking that question. Not only was that an unnecessary reaction, but it was also a reaction that showed that vast numbers of the Xbox community think about this and the competitive problem incorrectly. The problem isn't really whether or not there's price parity that prices Call of Duty on a Nintendo platform equally. Actually, the concern that a regulatory body would have is that the price for Call of Duty on a Nintendo platform is actually less, because that will increase the demand for that on the platform in comparison to price parity, which again is part of a Microsoft market share grab that they could potentially be making.
And you're saying that's something that the regulatory bodies are concerned about then? Or one of the concerns that they have?
Correct.
Okay.
They would be more concerned about Call of Duty on a Nintendo platform being underpriced than they would about there being price parity on the Nintendo platform.
I
don't think it's ever going to happen. I think they will charge as much money as they possibly can because they know the Nintendo community will pay.
But you just made the argument why they would price it less, because it won't be as performant as it is on other platforms.
But that's not its performance has never stopped games from being priced far beyond that on that platform. It performing like trash does not mean that it's going to be priced in comparison to its performance.
That behavioral pattern holds true for every company that has put games on the Nintendo Switch other than Microsoft, who has not to date put games at volume on the Nintendo Switch.
But if they put Call of Duty on it, now they're putting them in there at volume, and they're going to make it the same. I cannot see them making it any cheaper on that. It's also considering this is not talking about Switch though, because we're talking about whatever the next Nintendo thing is. But regardless, it's not. I can't see it being any cheaper than where it is everywhere else, regardless of the level of performance.
I have a question. I can understand. First of all, that question I felt was the most dumbest question I've ever heard all day when he said that. Freaking what's today's question? I was like, what? That's the stupidest thing ever. They are like, I understand why he asked it to get a rile. I swear to God, he knew what he was doing. He actually succeeded in what he wanted to do.
That's conjecture, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's definitely conjecture, but I mean, that's how I feel.
I understand, but like again, like go ahead, finish your point about price parity.
But it's just like if you look at it, it was like, okay, so depending on how you're looking at it, okay, is he's talking about to when it comes to the Switch price, or you're talking about when it comes to the Xbox price? Well, the Xbox price is already still $70. You know, they already, that number has already been pretty much adopted with Call of Duty on Xbox, and I don't think Microsoft is going to change that number. And like everybody said earlier, Game Pass is the reason to get it on Xbox for cheaper. It's not, they're not going to lower the price and have it in Game Pass at the same time. They're going to be like, yeah, if you want to get it for cheaper, this is where you can get it at because that's where we want you to buy it. We want you to play it anyway. And for the Switch, who really cares if they charge less on the Switch? Because happen if it does come to the Switch. And the reason I don't think that's going to be the case, because I do think they're going to be a more powerful hybrid system in the future, and it's going to warrant a $70 price tag, most likely, if that is the case. But even if they did put it on the Switch for $69.99, $59.99, who's going to bet it? Who cares?
Let me put a stop to part of this trajectory. I don't care if you update the specs on the Switch. You're still not going to put the Switch. The next step up doesn't necessarily put the Switch on even playing field with current generation PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series hardware.
Even when they're doing it with their own games.
Nvidia has done nothing. Again, Nvidia has done nothing to iterate on the platform that they're currently sitting on. So to get Nvidia to make that lift, that's an investment that somebody's going to have to make. Either Nvidia is going to have to eat that cost themselves, or Nvidia is going to have to be paid to do it.
Has like 5 generations past of the Tegra chip past where the Switch is. They've already integrated over it, and actually Nvidia wanted them to actually use a different chip, but Nintendo went cheaper.
They went cheaper, yeah.
Where is that Tegra chip deployed today? What consumer product is that Tegra chip in?
Just because it's in a different consumer product doesn't mean it could not be.
No, I don't care that it's different. I'm asking what it's in.
I think it's being used in cars. I think I had to double check Nvidia's one of their press conferences, but I remember doing some research on it a while back when the first Switch Pro rumors came out, and I was looking at Tegra chips because all the rumors were saying that the Switch Pro was either using the Xavier version of the Tegra chip or one that was a step higher than that, and that was back like 2 years ago. So Nvidia actually has gone a little bit. They've actually made even more advanced version than that since then. I think part of the problems I think they were having with it is cooling, for it to have such a small device, but like the capabilities of the chip likely weren't really conducive for what Nintendo wanted out of a small form factor. But all I'm saying is that Nvidia definitely, like, Nintendo wouldn't have to go to Nvidia, but like make us something that actually allows us to do this next Nintendo platform that's more powerful, but still gives us what we're doing with the Nintendo Switch. They already have something already kind of close there. They probably may need to do some tweaks here and there, but it wouldn't be too difficult for the Nvidia to do that for them.
I don't know that I agree with that. That T210 chip that they're on is a custom made chip for the Nintendo Switch, and I don't necessarily see a pattern of deployment after the T210 that shows it targeted for a similar to or that specific platform.
Okay, they have. I'll go look it up, but them having a custom chip doesn't mean that like it was going to be like they have to create a whole new architecture to put them to create a chip for them. Like that chip is a Tegra chip. It's already running the same old architecture that Nvidia first created their first generation APU with. So even though it may be custom, it's still the same architecture.
Again, I don't know that I agree with that. I don't see an architectural pattern here from the Tegra X1 that tells me that the future extrapolation of tensor cores, et cetera, on future versions of the Tegra 2 chip reflect that it's the exact same architecture. Their GPUs aren't the same architecture, right? The whole point of the new GPUs coming out is that it's an iteration of an architectural evolution forward.
I did not say that, Ham. I said that the Tegra chip that is in the current Switch is the same architecture as the Tegra chip that their first generation Tegra chip. I did not say it is the exact same architecture for their Xavier or their other ones, nor did I say that whatever new Switch they come out with would be the exact same architecture as the old one.
Understood, but the X1 is also not their first generation Tegra chip.
Fine.
My whole point of this is let me back off the complexity of the argument that I'm trying to make. My point is that they're not doing the same thing that AMD has done with their APU lines, right? Which make the APU lines modifiable, right? With a lower level of effort and with a less of a step aside from that baseline architecture to its utilization in consoles. Would you agree with that? Because I think that's the main point that I'm trying to make.
I mean, I guess, but it's just like it's fine. We can just move on. I don't think I think we've gone on the tangent, and then we're discussing the tangent, and it's not really all that important to, but the overall discussion is. So fine, sure, go ahead.
All right, real quick, regarding the commentary that we made that I think Game Logic brought up about cheaper price point on the Switch. Falky actually chimed in and says, kind of saying that it's a utilization of a proxy to drive a foreclosure strategy, which is more common than people think. And actually, I did ask him to confirm that he was that comment was towards a lower price point on on the Nintendo Switch device. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But one thing I do want to talk about here too is like the 10-year deal. Like and I was. Great article in Game Industry Biz. There was an opinion piece today by I know I'm going to mess his name up. Chris Dring. I didn't mess his name up. And one of the things he talked about, and I thought was kind of interesting about the 10-year deals. And I haven't seen a lot of people ask the question. So what happens after the 10 years? Like, yeah, Microsoft saying, hey, we're committed to 10 years. I had a discussion with somebody about they were saying that this is a fair deal. I'm like, okay, maybe not. I don't know. I haven't seen. I don't understand. Know all the details of the specific deal, but they didn't really do this or have this kind of dialogue around Minecraft when Minecraft was acquired when they acquired Mojang. It was like, hey, look, we're just going to continue supporting all platforms. There wasn't a 10-year deal or anything like that, or that kind of deals being offered to the different platform holders. But one of the things that Chris brought up that I thought was kind of interesting, he said he thinks the GeForce Now deal particularly is not really a concession. He feels that that the 10-year time span on the Nvidia deal doesn't feel significant enough. He says that streaming is a nascent distribution model for video games. It actually makes sense for Microsoft to support its competitors in an effort to drive users to this space. Then it goes on to say, how long will it take before streaming becomes significant? 5 years, 10 years, and will Microsoft renew the deal then? He said, even so, it's a counter to one part of regulators' concerns that Microsoft had up until now not had an answer to. And he did say that there was something else about. Oh my goodness! Now I can't find the quote now, but he kind of made the comparison, like basically if they were to move on, like would they do something similar to what kind of like what Disney did with its Marvel properties, right? Once Disney acquired Marvel, like would they eventually pull those very again a la Disney Plus, pull that content and just move it over to Game Pass after that 10-year period, and basically at that point kind of forcing people's hands to make that choice to move over to the Xbox platform. So that's what I'm wondering.
Is this all about cloud gaming? Is that what he's talking about specifically when
cloud
it comes to the 10-year deal
and subscription? Yeah. So
because like if you look at the way GeForce Now is designed, like if I'm subscribed to GeForce Now, I can't like the deal that they made. I still need to go to Microsoft in order to get that deal done because nothing in GeForce Now, like you can't just sign up for GeForce Now and there's a 4080 in the cloud that I can access and I can play, all these games on a high-powered PC, so to speak. Well, if you don't own any of these games in Steam, Epic Game Store, or soon to be the Windows Xbox app, you don't have anything to access. You're paying for nothing. So it's like it's them giving Nvidia access. It's a benefit to Nvidia because it gives their platform, their service some life, and will remain consistent for those who think about doing it and then I can play all these games. But for Microsoft, for Xbox, you didn't lose anything with that, because people still got to come to you to get the game access to the game before they even go to Nvidia. So it's, I just when I saw it, I just thought it was a big nothing burger. But
Yeah, no, and I think that's, like, I think what you described now is like the obvious, benefit right now today. My question is, like, again, what happens after the 10-year deal? Like, is Microsoft, do they renew the deals? Or as I mentioned, or like what Chris brought up, like, or will Microsoft do Disney and pull all of its content off its rival services and just try to encourage people to jump over to Game Pass at that point? So
I think they pulled the content. That's my opinion. I think after 10 years they pulled the content. Yeah.
That's kind of what I think too. I think that is kind of like, hey, so when I've got what's her name, Lulu, good old Lulu. So when Lulu posted that meme, and it's just, this thing's itch. I never thought I'd see an executive kind of stoking the flames of the console war.
No, it's a lot of money on the line, man. These people.
Oh, she's trying to cash out. Yeah, they're trying to get paid. I get it.
I'm not mad at them. I mean, like, they doing what they do. They doing what they need to do to get paid, and they speaking their mind about it. So,
but what's
that's
interesting,
all you need to think about when it comes to that.
What's interesting is Lulu. Her me wasn't exactly. Some people were like, "Oh, that's spot on," like, because there was, I think at the end of the meme was like, "But what if we lose COD?" There was like Sony falling off a bike, and what if we lose COD? And I'm like, well, yeah, that's actually could happen after 10 years. I mean, that could be a thing. Like, I don't disagree with you, Slim. I think that maybe, and if I'm Microsoft, yeah, of course I'm going to show all the goodwill in the world and say, hey, I got a 10-year deal, and these guys don't want to play ball. We're trying to, partner with them. We partner with Nintendo. Now we have Nvidia on board. We're shaking hands, kissing babies, and but what happens after 10 years? And maybe that's part of the pushback.
After 10 years, everybody better, within a decade, you better come up with your own. you're like, if the deal goes through, and all these 10-year deals with Sony and Nintendo and GeForce and Steam, even though Valve said we don't need a 10-year deal, we're fine, we don't care. All these 10-year deals. At the end of it all, you better figure out an alternative over a decade. And I think they feel as if, like, if any regulatory board came after them for not renewing, they would say, well, we never said it was going to be there forever, and we gave them 10 years. What do you want from me? Like they would go with, I think they would go with that kind of like tack, which I think is part of the reason why there's still pushback on this entire deal to begin with. So,
yeah, because 10 years is gonna roll around and be here before you
Fast.
know it. You know what I mean?
It's a great point,
like,
B.
We get a Call of Duty game every year. You know what I mean? So, and you just think of the last generation. We could think of all the greatest games that came from last generation. You know what I mean? And that generation lasted 8 years. You know what I mean? We're 2 years into this generation. 3 years, coming this holiday. You know what I mean? So 10 years will be here before you know it. And, we see how long it takes to develop games now. You know what I mean? Some of them taking 3, 4, 5 years. So, if you don't have anything that's, comparable or, can kind of hold its own within that time, it could be shit out of luck. You know what I mean? So,
this all sounds interesting, and y'all might be right. I just think that Microsoft's going to be a third-party publisher in 10 years.
You keep saying that, Forte. I don't know if I buy that, but
you think they're not going to make Xbox in 10 years?
Yeah.
No. I think they're going to make Xboxes, but I think predominantly they're going to be a publisher.
But they're already doing that now, man.
And their games are just going to be everywhere.
So you're saying that they're going to be a game app,
like Halo everywhere.
Everything's going to be everywhere in 10 years.
Don't say that, Forte. The extremists will come after you.
I'm trying to listen, man. The way they moving right now, I'm trying to tell the way they moving right now. They want their stuff to be everywhere. They don't. I'm trying to. It's at a point now, like the system. Yes, they're going to make more money on their platform if they sell. That's why I think they'll never get rid of the platform itself. But if the deal goes through, they're going to have that. Their reach is going to be so much bigger than it could ever be by selling the stuff on their own system. And I don't think they're going to want to go back on that once they get to that point. Like once you get a taste of that 200 to 300 million people that's always accessing your stuff, as if the number gets that high, if they can get that number to 200 to 300 million people that's accessing their games through whatever means they could play it, they're not going to turn their back on that.
Well, okay, so let's unpack. So you talking about like first party content everywhere on PlayStation?
Everywhere, yes.
Already, PlayStation won't allow Game Pass on their platform now.
If this 10-year, listen, I'm trying to. If this is all contingent on them if they allow this, if this 10-year deal thing, because guess what, Slumber, we keep saying no DPS. Sony got this 10-year deal in their back pocket. So why would they accept this deal at all?
The reason why they have never responded to the deal is in case things don't go the way they want, they always have a fallback.
They always have a fallback. So at some point, either this deal is going to go through because regulators push it through, or Sony's going to just say, screw it, we'll accept the 10-year deal, and they're going to allow that game on their system, and that game's going to be...
Or it just gets blocked, which I think now I'm more leaning on the side that it'll get blocked.
No, I don't think it's going to get... I don't think they're going to block. I think they're going to... I think before they block it, I think Microsoft will turn and say we're done with it before the end. I don't think it will ever get to the point where regulators are going to block it. I think it's going to get to the point where it's either going to go through, or Microsoft's going to say this is too rich for us and we're done, and it's too much invested in something that they just don't want to fight for anymore. I think that will be those are the only two options that's going to come from this: Microsoft giving up,
I think,
because regulators, I don't think, going to block it. They're not going to block it completely because their job isn't to block it. Their job is to basically get fail safes in place to make sure that things that happen in the past won't happen.
They can.
No, they can't. No, they can't. But they don't.
No, they
never want to do. They want to come up with concessions in order for these type of things to go through.
They already came up with these concessions, and Microsoft has already come out and said that is it not structural? What is it? What's the word I'm looking for?
No, it's structural. It's structural. It is structural with the CMA. They recommended a divestiture of
structural
ABK
remedies, and there's behavioral remedies.
Yep.
Microsoft is only going to consider the behavioral remedies, and the CMA may consider behavioral, but they would not prefer it, and only under like really like very like thin circumstances. So it's. I think they're going to push for that behavioral side of things, and I think the CMA is still going to say no. Sell Call of Duty, which I think is like defeats the purpose.
Who's going to sell? Yeah, and that's the most dumbest thing ever. Like, who are you going to sell Call of Duty to? That's going to be like, can't no other entity do Call of Duty like Call of Duty?
Well, the thing is that you can't sell Call of Duty now without selling Activision, because if you sell Call of Duty, there's no other publisher that can take that on and
they're not selling
like 9 studios.
Yeah, they're not doing that.
Pick it up. So they would have to sell the studios with that. And if you're selling all the studios that Activision has, then why even keep Activision at that point? You might as well just sell Activision.
No, I think if they wouldn't be forced. Well, I mean, I guess it's based different on if they would have to sell the studios. I mean, that would probably be the preferred thing, but I think just not owning Call of Duty would be enough for them.
Yeah.
You think?
Hey, let me
they would go forward without Call of Duty?
No, I'm just saying if it got pushed through, saying that was one of the concessions they had to make, one of the behavioral restrictions they had to make, is just sell Call of Duty. I don't think they would force them to sell the developers, but they would tell them they can't own Call of Duty. They would have to sell Call of Duty, and at that point, what is Call of Duty at that point?
Yeah,
without that.
Real quick, let me get the super chat real quick from Buck before I forget. $5 super chat from Buck. Thank you, Buck. Says, "Oh, BRAP, you forgot Sony execs laughing, showing Xbox how to share a game in 2013. Lulu got mad. ABK like she want to get paid, BRAP." Thank you for that super chat, Buck.
She want to get paid. That's all they want to do is get paid.
Yeah, real quick. I think Slobo, you were going to say something, and then I'm gonna give someone last thoughts before
I said we lost.
No, he went to go play Call of Duty. he's trying to get some Call of Duty and to level up his weapons before it gets too late. And I'm trying to hop on Call of Duty as well too. Let's try to get on like around 11. But yeah, that's why he dropped.
Let's go.
Yeah, but yeah, it's again. I'm just kind of wondering the 10-year thing, but I kind of agree with what you said. So I think that after 10 years, it's off the tables.
I think what they did overall was what you would expect them to do. And I think all the PR work they did this week and everything is the best they could do out of the situation, and I think it was executed well. But I just still kind of feel like overall, when it's all said and done, it's really the CMA that's like the real, like the FTC. That's the court. They're going to win that eventually. Like, I don't think that they worry about the FTC. It's the European, it's the EU, and it's the CMA. And even if the EU accepts the behavioral things that they did to try to appease, the CMA can still say no. And so I really kind of like, I mean, I'm not saying it's a guarantee it's not going to happen. I just kind of feel like it's just my completely uninformed opinion. Like, I feel like it's not going to go through.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that sometimes too. So only because I never thought that they would get this far. I remember a lot of people saying, "Oh, this is a slam dunk," and I just never thought the FTC would sue to block the deal. But I'm leaning on the side that it goes through with a lot of concessions. But who knows? I think at this point, who knows?
But, I mean, what other concessions could they do?
I don't know.
At this point,
I don't know. I mean, maybe guaranteeing that COD stays multi-plat for the duration of Microsoft owning it.
Who cares? They could it's going to be that way in the future anyway. So we'll you still think Forte's all the Game Pass is going to be on every device? Yeah, no, I hear you, Forte. I don't think Game Pass is going to be on every device, but I do think that those games are going to be everywhere. At some point, those games are just going to be everywhere because the future's coming, man. Microsoft ain't going to just be about one platform anymore. They've been moving like that for a while. It started with moving their games to PC. You're going to start seeing Xbox games show up on Nintendo Switch. They're talking about Call of Duty and stuff right now, but that's just going to open the door for a lot of that other stuff to go over there too. There's going to be some games that are going to be like the last of the Mohicans, and they're going to hold off for a very long time until they start doing it. And then at some point, Microsoft's going to be a third-party developer, and they're just going to put their games everywhere else, and they're still going to have a platform that they can put their games on because
that
they do
doesn't
that.
make them a third-party developer.
Well, they're going to act like a third-party developer, but have a first-party presence.
So you're saying in 10 years from now, in 2033, Halo.
No, Halo will be one of the last ones to go.
Okay, Gears of War 8.
Gears of War might.
Gears of War 8 on PlayStation.
If PlayStation let it, yeah.
Well, I mean, they would do that now.
No, they will. They don't want to do anything now. We talked about Halo over there, and they didn't want to do that.
They were going to put Halo and Gears over there.
Yeah, they need. I'm trying to tell you,
they're
going
to put Game Pass over there, which means
they aren't putting Game Pass though.
Oh yeah, the only reason why it hasn't happened is because Sony. Right. The only reason why it hasn't happened is because Sony won't allow it to happen.
Yeah, that's what I keep saying. At some point, this is going to happen.
Sony's not going to change their mind, man.
I don't think Game Pass is going to be the way that it's going to end up over there. I think they're just natively going to end up over there at some point.
So
it don't have to be on Game Pass.
Like Minecraft.
Exactly. At some point, you're going to see a Minecraft and people talk about Starfield. Starfield, yeah. Initially, I believe that game is going to be a Xbox exclusive, but at some point, that game, however long it takes,
don't do this.
It's gonna go, man.
You were giving these people hope. Stop saying that.
Yeah, Forte is out here spinning. He's spinning the rumor mill.
Hey, listen. There's
not.
All right.
Look, stop. No.
At some point,
Starfield on PlayStation. Stop. Don't listen to Forte.
At some point, these games. All right, but not Starfield.
Giving y'all false
not
hope.
Starfield. Not Starfield. Not Starfield. Not Elder Scrolls 6. Not Fable. Not any of those. Not Fallout. What would it be? Fallout 5. Not any of those games. Those games won't because it's not long enough. But I'm trying to. At some point,
what they should have did if they were gonna do that, Forte. They should have did that with a game like Hi-Fi Rush. Now,
They
if that
sh-
game released everywhere, it
Yeah,
would
they
make
should
sense.
have.
Would have had a higher
I wonder why
competition
they
on
didn't,
PlayStation.
dude. I wonder why.
It's not a
That
marquee
game-
IP. It's not something that people would be looking for. It's something that comes out of the blue. If that would have released on every platform, nobody would have thought anything of it.
If Hi-Fi Rush was on the Switch, and it was just straight up sold on the Switch, it would be the biggest selling Xbox game in a decade.
It would. I agree. I would have bought it on the Switch.
People would have actually played
That
it.
game would've-
Guaranteed that game with
I
that
would've
art
bought it.
style on the Switch. Yo,
It would have ran great on there too.
It would have ran fine on there. It would have been.
He don't want to
quality
say
game.
the word "great" in anything with the word "Switch" in it.
No, he does. He don't want to give
It
Switch any
would've been
credit.
Ran fine.
Yeah.
It's a high quality game, and you know how the Switch community is. They would have ate that thing up so fast. Like they missed out. Honestly, I would definitely would do that in there.
Yeah.
I'm just saying these
Yeah.
these 10-year deals being signed out here, man. That's just the beginning.
Yeah. All right. Well, look,
Just the
gentlemen.
beginning.
Yeah, I do want to get to some COD here. But look, want to give a big shout out to everyone in the live chat. Thank you, everyone, for coming by, hanging out with us tonight. Really appreciate the support as always. Do me a favor, please hit that like button. 44 likes, over 100 people watching, 140 something people watching. Please hit that like button. And if you're new, hit the bell notification, subscribe, so you're alerted. Subscribe, hit the bell notification so you're alerted when we go live. And also want to give a big shout out to Game Logic, who stopped by to hang out with us this evening. He actually went to go play Call of Duty so he could level up his weapons. Want to give a big shout out to the panel here, B Money 101. B, as always, people need to pay attention when you speak, sir. Let everyone know they can find you,
I've been
man.
trying to tell y'all for years now, man.
Be
all good,
knowing ish 101. My bad. Go ahead, bro.
Oh no, it's all good, man. Looking forward to State of Play for tomorrow. Hopefully we get to see some cool stuff. Like I said, we should see something after the fiscal year as far as a showcase from PlayStation. So looking forward to that as well. And let's get back to gaming, man. We got Resident Evil 4 remake right around the corner.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot of good stuff on the table in these next couple of months, man. So everybody get back to gaming and enjoy the stuff that's coming out over the next few weeks. And we ain't got to fight about this nonsense anymore. You know what I mean? Like the deal's gonna happen one way or another, and at the end of the day, like it don't really matter. Just play the games you like.
Yeah, that's a great point, B. Absolutely, man. Then we got Forte and Slow-Mo, who have a show tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on, I don't know whose channel, but
It
either
will
Slow-Mo
be
or
on
Forte will let us know.
my channel. It will be on my channel, Slow-Mo Backslap. As Enrique said, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to discuss some of this stuff. We don't like to get into the ABK stuff too much because we don't like to pull our hair out. But we will definitely be discussing the state of play that's going to happen tomorrow, in addition to a couple of other topics. So come on through.
Absolutely.
Sit back, relax, enjoy the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so definitely check out. And you guys will be talking about the state of play, I'm sure, as it's tomorrow. So yeah, definitely check
also,
it. Also,
Eric Jackson will be joining us as well.
Mr. Eric Jackson, everybody. Yeah, EJ. Always a good time when EJ joins. So that's good. No, definitely looking forward to the show tomorrow. Please check out these two gentlemen tomorrow night on Slow-Mo
We'll be
Backslap
holding Forte
channel.
accountable, I try, but it's difficult.
I try so hard.
But Forte's typically right a lot. I've noticed that, but that's another conversation. So,
no. Thank you, Enrique.
well,
Enrique likes to pick and choose who apparently is always right.
hey, it depends on the week, man.
Last
Depends
week
on the
he
week.
said I was always right. Now he's saying it's Forte.
Well, I got to keep people on their toes. So, but look, everyone, thank you so much for your time. As always, appreciate it. Again, hit that like button, and also hit the bell notification and subscribe if you haven't done so already. So, on that note, we're out. We're going to go play some Call of Duty. Until next time, gamers, enjoy the rest of the week. We'll catch you next time.